Ladies and gentlemen, without any exception and doubt, the space is the next frontier whose boundaries we have to conquer. And in doing so, there will be the creation of many technologies. It is a great honor for me to moderate leaders' session of this an important international symposium on space sciences, which is titled as Space Ecosystem Awareness, the importance of the space technology and for humanity. I am privileged to introduce to our audience the first speaker of this session, Mrs. Shelley Brunswick, Chief Operating Officer of Space Foundation and co-organizer of this session. Shelley brings a broad perspective and deep vision of global space ecosystem from a distinguished career as a space acquisition and program management leader and congressional liaison for US Air Force to her current role, including overseeing Center for Innovation, Education, Symposium 365, and Global Alliance. Shelley is a real leading role model for women in space. She was selected as a 2020 Diversity and Inclusion Officer and Role Model of the Year by Women Tech Network, and a Women of Influence by Colorado Springs Business Journal. She is only one of the 35 women worldwide to be selected by United Nations as a mentor of its Space for Women program and is World Business Angels Investment Forum Senator for United States of America. She sits on the board of directors of Manufacturers Edge and Colorado Springs Chamber and EDC. Shelley, it is a great pleasure that we have you today with us, and it's a great honor that you are our co-organizer, and you are going to speak on advocating for innovation, bettering life on Earth. Ms. Shelley, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Sharif, and it's an honor to be joining you all today. Thank you, Your Excellency, Director General, and esteemed guests and speakers. The Space Foundation is honored to be a co-host with you today and talk about the importance of space technology, space innovation, entrepreneurship, and how it betters our lives here on Earth. So the first thing I'd like to do is I am going to offer a slide presentation. As you heard, the Space Foundation is about advocating for innovation to better our life on Earth. And as Mr. Zellabor commented, we have three main divisions. Our Center for Innovation and Education is about education. Our Symposium 365 is about trusted information, and our Global Alliance is about creating partners and collaboration opportunities. And that's why, again, we're so honored to be joining you today for this wonderful event to create those global partnerships. As Mr. Zellabor commented, the global space ecosystem in 2019 was $424 billion. And according to Bank of America, by 2030, it'll be $1.4 trillion and over $3 trillion by 2040. More than 80 countries are operating in space, but almost every nation uses space technology. In the US, space sector jobs are higher paying than other industry jobs. And in the US, 80% of that global space economy is commercial, which again is about entrepreneurship, innovation, and creating jobs. During His Excellency's opening remarks, the Director General, he commented about the growing technology in the space ecosystem. And I wanted to share some of that technology with you. As you think about space, many times people think about going out, but really that technology is here helping us on Earth. Energy and energy storage solutions, healthcare and biometrics, manufacturing, data analytics, cybersecurity. And we have many wonderful guests coming up after this event that will talk about many of those areas. When you think about those technologies I shared with you, I know we have a wonderful ESA representative that will talk about ESA technology transfer, but NASA also has a wonderful technology transfer office, and they have patents that are available to be commercialized. And again, they're in transportation and agriculture and healthcare and energy storage solutions. So when we think about that space technology and we think about entrepreneurship and innovation and jobs, These are some of the technologies that we use every day. Our cell phones have 3 different space technologies: athletic shoes, powerless power tools, weather prediction. When we all get on that plane and start traveling again, I know I want that pilot to have the best weather prediction to navigate around turbulence. Fire retardant clothing. Firefighters are wearing technology from space. And then there's healthcare applications, MRI technology, cataract surgery. So, space, the technology we learn from going to the stars, benefits us here on Earth. Again, as I shared, when we look at that global space ecosystem of $424 billion, the red and the blue highlight the 80% that is commercial, which is products and services. The other part of space is that it's now open to all. 40 years ago, you were in the government and you were primarily focused in a STEM career. Now, 40 years later, space is open to all. The opportunities are open to STEM professionals, non-STEM professionals, trade workers, entrepreneurs, business leaders, program managers, and more. There's now a place for everyone in space. And we look at reskilling and upskilling the workforce. So we saw during COVID, some individuals lost their jobs, but even during 2020, the space industry was still hiring. So there's an opportunity for the young, the K through 12, we call in the US, or primary school, to learn about space careers, but also to look at reskilling and upskilling our current workforce to fill these new jobs. And so as we look at it from the Space Foundation, we see 3 big challenges to reaching that $3 trillion global economy number. The workforce shortage. Do we have enough workers to fill the jobs that are open in the space industry? In the US, in Japan, in Europe, we have an aging workforce, and we don't necessarily have the incoming workforce to fill the jobs of those retiring individuals. We also have that skills deficit. Again, I have open jobs in the space industry for all skill levels, but I have a skills mismatch from those that might be unemployed. So how do we reskill and upskill? And again, that innovation gap, unlocking those patents at NASA and ESA, Technology Transfer Office, and commercializing them, creating vibrant businesses, creating opportunity, and creating a product that betters our life here on Earth. This is why the Space Foundation created our Center for Innovation and Education. It's a lifelong learning platform that offers workforce development and economic opportunity for all students, teachers, entrepreneurs, professionals, parents in this growing global space ecosystem. So the summit today, the conference today, is so important because everyone in this room, every citizen on this planet is part of this global space ecosystem. And again, I'm looking at today's workforce, but also our next generation workforce. How the Space Foundation operates is we believe in partnerships. That's why we're partnering with ICESCO today and other organizations around the world. We have sponsors for our programs, grants, we do fundraising and raise an endowment. So our goal is that we can provide our programs both locally in the US and where we live in Colorado, nationally in the US, as well as internationally. And we do deliver our programs both in person and virtually. The Space Foundation for our Workforce Development Initiative has a 5-step process. It's awareness, access, training, connecting, and mentoring. Many times a good mentor can overcome those other 4 areas. And that's why I'm passionate about being a mentor for the UN Space for Women program, which is open to both men and women. Women Tech Network has a mentoring program that is open to men and women. There's Space Generation Advisory Council and World Business Angels Investment Forum is also starting a mentoring program. For those of you in the audience and the students that are listening, there are mentoring programs available. This program today also creates awareness of what's available in the space ecosystem and how each citizen can look at being part of it, whether it's creating a new product or service or using that space technology to create a product or service. And then it's finding that access point. Is it partnering with ICESCO and the Space Foundation and other organizations that are here in the room, or speakers, NASA and ESA and others? Creating the training programs and connecting everyone into the global space community. I won't share too much, but this is how the Space Foundation operates when we talk to organizations about how we want to work and collaborate. You're on that dot that says Space Foundation. And as you look out, you tell us who the audience is you're trying to reach. I saw a question in the comments about entrepreneurs. So let's say you want to reach entrepreneurs. Then the next step is, what is your goal? What is a measure of success? Is it creating those opportunities for those entrepreneurs to create a network and grow their business? And then the outer ring highlights the programs the Space Foundation has that we can bring and deliver anywhere in the world. And we also partner with organizations around the world, whether it's government, academia, or other nonprofits. The sides, those list the 16 different areas that the Space Foundation says is part of the space ecosystem. So yes, there is one that says space, and that is where Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos reside. But there's also agriculture and education and energy and finance. Our entire financial system runs on space technology. The Internet of Things, as we think about 5G, we look at manufacturing, advanced manufacturing activities, and transportation and communication. So the world is open to all who want to find a place in the space ecosystem. Some of the programs we offer, again, relate to entrepreneurship, whether it's for adults who want to be entrepreneurs or open a new line of business, or for our high school students who want to learn more about entrepreneurship. So we grow a future leaders in entrepreneurship. I shared some of those mentoring programs with you that are available. The Space Foundation has that trusted information as well. So this is under our division called Symposium 365. We have our annual symposium that will take place in person, August 23rd through 26th here in Colorado. We look forward to welcoming the Director General of ICESCO to joining us. We also hope many others will consider joining us, whether it's in person, and we will also offer this program as a hybrid virtually. We also offer it 365 days a year because space is military, commercial, civil, and international, and it takes government, academia, and the commercial industry to grow to that $3 trillion economy. So for this reason, we offer our programming 365 days a year. For those of you who have more questions, you can reach out to me. I'm also answering your questions in the chat, and we look forward to our future events with our great partners at ICESCO. Thank you so much. I will stop sharing my slides and take this down and again say what an honor it is for Space Foundation to partner with ICESCO. We look forward to future collaborations. Thank you, Your Excellency Director General and Dr. Sharif, for including the Space Foundation as a partner today.
Thank you very much. Players are ours, Ms. Shelley. Thank you very much for an excellent overview of applications and the programs available and depicting the challenges of today's symposium, which is also the title of today's symposium. Now we move towards our next distinguished speaker. New behavior, new business models, new opportunities drive entrepreneurial and innovation. That's how space world is changing our lives, says Major General Vital. Major General Vital is the Defense Director of International Academy of Space Studies, Director of Innovation and R&D at Cyber, Space Consultant of Aerospace Committee of Defense Material Industries Union, and Major General retired of the Brazilian Air Force with 38 years experience in the aerospace segment as an engineer and military pilot. Previous experience as a founder, vice president, and president of Space System Commission, where he worked on the implementation of satellite projects, launchers, launch centers, and mission controls centers related to strategic space system programs. He was the commander of the 2nd Integrated Center for Air Defense and Air Traffic Control, and the founder and chief of the Operations Division of the Navigation. I have one commonality with the Major General because he studied in Germany, me too. He is a master from Technical University of München. So, General Saab, the players are us. Now the floor is yours to tell us how space world is changing our lives. The floor is yours, sir.
So thank you for the kind introduction, and it's a pleasure and an honor for me to take part of this event. Thank you all. Good morning for excellencies, for everybody here. I would like to share some ideas with you today in order to understand how space is in our lives, but to put some perspective, like our world is completely have a good interaction with the space world. And then to show that, I will try to share some ideas with some pictures here. Okay. So, first, we have well-known activities that bring some picture about how we interact our world in the Earth with the space world. So we have space to Earth activities in general. And also we have space to space activities. So I will try to keep these two different perspectives in order to make it easy to understand how space in our life and which opportunities which kind of opportunities we have. And this interaction brings a lot of opportunities in business also. Some people said that we are in the space age 2.0, and Shelley has already mentioned that we have trillions of dollars per year to come soon, maybe at the end of the next decade. So we are already there. So let's start with space to Earth activities. We have an interesting report from Euroconsult that says that until 2028, we will have about 1,000 satellites to be built. So it's a large amount of satellites to come every year. And this kind of satellites will bring a lot of different work in some areas like Earth observation, telecommunication, position timing, and so on. And then the nice thing about these new satellites is that these satellites is coming for commercial business, for commercial perspectives, a large amount of that. So it's very good for the growing perspectives for the entrepreneurship, innovation, and so on. We can see the remote sensing satellites in a perspective of services. So this kind of technology brings a lot of alternatives for services to the society. And these services can apply, for example, I have a small list with maritime defense, maritime environmental monitoring, environmental changing perspectives, risk management, territorial defense, territorial environmental monitoring, critical systems monitoring like distribution of energy systems and so on, and humanitarian aid. So this way we are not talking about only technology, we are talking about a lot of services that use space, satellites, all the satellite industry together to build up this kind of benefits for the society. This pictures brings a little bit more information about how these services are applied. They are applied to the regulated urban advances, for example, to plan cities, to take care about waste, to monitoring dams, maritime environmental monitoring, wildfires, precision agriculture, and also to preserve the cultural heritage and so on. So this brought the idea, this brings to us the idea how one kind of technology using space, interacting with the earth, brings a lot of benefits for us. Also in the communication, we are not talking anymore only in geostationary satellites to bring communication, but we are talking about using LEO satellites, low Earth orbit satellites, also to communicate. So this is a different kind of use of low Earth orbit satellites. Okay, today we have the perspective to have the Starlink from the Elon Musk. It's more common idea, but if we think that 5 years ago, 8 years ago, we are not considering LEO satellites for communication, we see that in a very short time, a new business arise, and then we think that this kind of ideas, this kind of new business will arise more frequently today, because the benefits of this space is coming more common in our lives, and new ideas, new entrepreneurs are helping us to find new perspectives of use of technologies in the earth. Another example is our well-known positioning, navigation, and timing constellation. The very common one is the GPS, but we have others, and we see that who lives without a cell phone today with the GPS activated? It's very difficult. So it's really part of our lives. And which kind of satellites we are talking about? In the past, we had huge structures launching to the space, but today we have a lot of small satellites, easier to launch because they have less mass and they are cheaper to put in orbit. And we have a lot of technology integrated inside it. So we can have smaller satellites keeping all the services, all the capability, all the technology due to the miniaturization. So this scale of satellites brings a good idea the trends we are going to face. For example, today we have the classification like small satellites, small aircraft. They have below 500 kilograms. In the past, 1 ton it was considered as small, but today is 500. And then we have even smaller. For example, the mini satellites, 180 to 100 kilo. Micro satellites, 10 kilo to 100 kilo. Nano satellites, 1 to 10. And we can go even more at pico satellites, less than 1 kilo. And femto satellites, a chipset. And it's interesting to see that a pico satellite, smaller than a nano satellite, already is very useful. We have we know that there are some companies like Alba, for example, they have a camera installed in a pico satellite less than 1 kilo, and it's possible to take pictures for the Earth with 15 meters of resolution on the ground. So it's amazing. So the technology is going on, and this improvements in technology and new alternatives brings a lot of ideas to make cheaper business involving space and improving the life on Earth for all of us. Okay, for these small satellites, we have also small launchers. The industry is trying. We have already some operational ones and some development, some others under development. And these small launchers brings the opportunity to customize the orbit of small satellites. They are cheaper. They intend to be to make the launch operation cheaper and keeping some precision in order to bring some benefits to more accurate services using small sats. But we also have the heavy and super heavy launchers, which aims to make the price, the cost for the launch very, very low. So, and this is bringing the perspective to launch a complete constellation of satellites, and also big payloads. For example, the Starship, which is under development, it will open a completely different door. It will make possible to launch about 500 tons in the low Earth orbit. So this is a very interesting perspective to build manufacturing in orbit services and a lot of things. And this animation shows how we can use many different satellites for remote sensing, communications satellites, and also the interaction with some, for example, patrol from the maritime patrol, asking for information and receiving accurate information about, for example, oil spill in the sea. So this brings the opportunity to identify the responsibility with this problem and to detect as soon as possible to avoid any bigger damage to the nature. So this is an example. Another example is the integration of the services with small launchers and the small satellites and other vectors, for example, from the Air Force, this is an example in Brazil, planning to improve the capability of communication with responsive launches to cope with some crisis situation, for example, fire in the forest and so on. And also, these advances in the launch industry make the space more accessible, brings the opportunity to have space tourism. In the past, it was very, very expensive, and then we have the possibility to have a smaller price and other possibilities to go to space as a tourist. And now let's talk about a space-to-space perspective. So this is very interesting because it's, many companies around the world, we have this report of Oberfleet that brings some very interesting services in many different orbits around the world. So we have services planning to monitoring and tracking active debris removal, supports deep space missions, in-space transportation for relocation and orbit adjustment, in-orbit service such refueling, life extension, end-to-life, in-space assembly and manufacturing, very interesting. And also space mining, which we can be considered to have some materials for colonies outside Earth. For example, we have the project, the Artemis project. We have many companies involved for maybe mining, helium-3, or maybe materials to build a permanent colony there, and also a space to Earth perspective to bring some minerals to the Earth. And all these possibilities, people are thinking about strands. In this example here, we have the Space Fund Capital. It's a company that they are making some research, and we have here 5 strands considering, for example, transportation. We have Earth to space, space to space, other worlds, planetary surface, communication, this communication considering terrestrial Earth orbit and also beyond Earth orbit, human factor like habitats, life support, biomedical, supply chain like satellite servicing, raw material, mining, manufacturing, production, and distribution and storage. So, and this is just 5 strands, but people, some people consider 8, and other people consider 15. So we have huge opportunities to deploy many different systems and to provide many other possibilities of business that brings a good perspective to improve life, the quality of life on Earth, and to bring the humanity to work in other scenarios in other worlds. So these were some ideas I would like to share with you. I am happy to answer in the chat the questions. And thank you for the invitation. I will stop now to stop the sharing and say thank you again for the invitation.
Thank you very much, General Vital, for introducing us to heavy and very heavy launchers we never heard of, and also giving us a very good overview. Yeah, thank you very much. And for the question answers, we have a roundtable discussion session 1 and roundtable discussion session 2 after the next session. And then if our audience and our participants, they have some questions, we will ask you. And we hope that you will stay with us. Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, let me move towards another speaker, an excellent speaker, who says, capturing a nation's imagination on potential of space and creating opportunities, research and development of space technology and its applications are essential for socio-economic uplift of any country. Major General Amir Nadeem, Halal-e Imtiaz Military. Major General Amir Nadeem holds a postgraduate degree in war studies and defense management. General Amir Nadeem has spent much of his career in research and development establishments and has varied experience in managing research and related organizations. Currently, General Nadeem is serving as a chairman Pakistan Space and Upper Atmosphere Research Commission, SUPARCO, since September 2018, and the president of Inter-Islamic Network on Space Sciences and Technologies, ISNET, that is an interstate, non-political, and non-profit agency having 16 member states under the umbrella of OIC's Standing Committee on Scientific and Technological Cooperation with the vision promote space sciences, space technology, and their applications for peaceful purposes in OIC member states. Honorable General Amir Nadeem is going to share his thoughts on importance of technology for humanity, space technology for humanity. General Saab, floor is yours, please.
Thank you very much. Honorable guests, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning. It is a matter of great honor and privilege for me to have been afforded this opportunity to address this session and deliver my thoughts on importance of space technology for humanity. On behalf of Pakistan Space and Upper Atmosphere Research Commission, I would like to extend gratitude to ICESCO for providing this forum with such a remarkable participation and audience. Ladies and gentlemen, humanity's interest in the heavens has been universal and enduring. Humankind is driven to explore and discover the unknown and push the boundaries of our scientific and technical limits. The insatiable desire to explore the challenges the boundary has provided benefit for centuries. One of the frequent questions asked related to space is, why are we exploring space when there are so many problems to fix here on Earth? It is a perfectly rational question. However, the short answer is that we need to go to space to help us solve the problems here on Earth. Discoveries and technology that arise because of space exploration are incredibly influential and beneficial for mankind. Let us see how space is contributing towards service for humanity. Ladies and gentlemen, digital information technology and the internet are now ubiquitous, dramatically facilitating human activities and livelihood of many people depend upon them. Satellites offer tremendous reach and therefore widen access to broadband services. They are also the best way of broadcasting content in a country, between regions, and across the globe in the most advanced and high quality digital format at the cost that is independent of the number of users. Ladies and gentlemen, ever since COVID-19, the importance of teleeducation and telemedicine has gained even more recognition. People living in remote, rural, and thinly populated areas, often in developing countries, face a digital divide that accentuates the inequalities between those who do and don't have access to educational resources. Cost-effective satellite-enabled distance learning programs that function independently of ground-based infrastructure ensure connectivity across physical boundaries. They increase access to education everywhere in the world and so help bridge the gap accordingly. Recent developments in mobile technology can allow healthcare professionals in multiple locations to share information and discuss patient issues as if they were in the same place. Space assets, particularly communication satellites and GIS, allow healthcare to be delivered remotely, particularly in a low-resource environment. Ladies and gentlemen, food security concerns accentuated by population growth, limited production resources, and climate change dynamics entail the necessity to continually find ways to meet the challenge. Satellite remote sensing plays a vital role in mapping, monitoring, and estimation of agricultural resources. Space technologies have helped increase crop yield, reduce environmental waste of commonly overused chemicals, and have led to an emergence of a new, highly technical professions in traditionally conservative rural communities worldwide. Precision agriculture is based on whole farm management with the goal of optimizing returns on inputs while preserving resources. By providing navigation, communication, and data acquisition capabilities, the space-based segment of smart farming technologies is one of the most important set of tools in the adoption of new and innovative practices. Ladies and gentlemen, many of the Earth's most critical natural resources, particularly forests, fisheries, and water, are being depleted. Information on the state of these resources, their value to communities, and the negative impacts of their degradation or loss is essential if we want to still be around for the next generations. Space-based capabilities play a critical role in the sustainable management of natural resources, including forests, fisheries, and water resources. Climate change, which affects freshwater resources, global food production, sea levels, and human security, is one of the biggest concerns facing humanity. Space-based technology provides important information that helps to understand and manage climate change. Satellites, with their ability to provide global coverage and continuous measurements, give researchers vital data on the planet's climate system, which contributes to monitoring, prediction, and development and improvement of climate models. Satellites also help to put in place and monitor mitigation and adaptation measures such as environmental conventions and international agreements. Ladies and gentlemen, disaster management is the management of resources and responsibilities for dealing with all humanitarian aspects of emergencies. The aim is to reduce the harmful effects of all hazards, including disasters. Governments everywhere are responding to an ever-increasing number of humanitarian crises, often as a result of natural disasters, but also in conflict-stricken areas. All such crises have a devastating impact, and when they strike, their large-scale and complex nature stretch human resources and ground-based infrastructure. Satellite services and applications provide support both before and after disasters and play an important role in ensuring a coherent response at times of emergency. With their extremely high accuracy, near real-time data acquisition, global coverage, resiliency, space assets have long provided unparalleled support to response teams and victims during disasters. Ladies and gentlemen, here I would like to highlight that SPARCO also hosts the OIC's COMSTEX Inter-Islamic Network on Space Technologies, commonly known as ISNET. The network is mandated to promote space sciences, space technology, and applications for peaceful purposes in the OIC member countries and to foster international cooperation among them. Recently, ISNET has introduced technical projects related to space science and technology. These projects involve activities related to cooperation in the design of remote sensing satellites, for observation, crop estimation, disaster management, and weather prediction. The projects encourage use of space technology towards achieving the socio-economic developments. The projects shall also contribute towards achieving the sustainable development goals, especially focusing on goal number 3, which is good health and well-being, goal number 6, which is clean water and sanitation, number 13, which is climate action, and goal number 17, which is global partnerships. Here I would urge the countries still not part of the network to avail the opportunity of development in space technology and its applications. Ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan attaches great importance to utilization of space-based assets and their application for achieving objectives of sustainable development goals. Pakistan was the first country to adopt Sustainable Development Goals 2030 through a unanimous resolution of its parliament. Pakistan's National Vision 2025 is fully aligned with the Sustainable Development Goals, providing a comprehensive long-term strategy for achieving inclusive growth and sustainable development. SPARCO, being the National Space Agency of Pakistan, is determined to utilize and promote the use of space technology and its applications for achieving sustainable development targets. SPARCO has been coordinating with national and international organizations for the development of space-based solutions in a number of areas and has completed numerous projects related to agriculture, monitoring, disaster management, forest estimation and monitoring, environment and GIS-based governance and planning. Ladies and gentlemen, I must emphasize that space technology must be utilized in order to succeed in preserving the Earth, its atmosphere, its resources, its oceans, its biodiversity, and bringing beneficial impact of the space activities on everyday life, well-being of the populace, and for humanity's sake. As said by Socrates, and I quote, "Man must rise above the earth to the top of the atmosphere and beyond, for thus he fully understands the world in which he lives," unquote. In the end, I am once again thankful to the organizers for affording an opportunity to dilate on the impact of space on humanity. I am very confident that this webinar shall draw productive and pragmatic outcome. May Allah bless us all and give us the vision and fortitude to contribute positively towards the betterment of the Muslim Ummah. Thank you very much for a very patient hearing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, General Nadeem, for giving us the overview about the applications and about the importance of space sciences and what the SPARCO is doing in cooperation with ISNET. Ladies and gentlemen, the advice or the speaker, I find myself very, very, very small to introduce him. He has in his life the count which cannot be spoken in words. He has the contributions for the space technology, the contribution for Earth, contribution for the applications of space. Everyone know about him. Professor Dr. Farooq Elbas is the retired research professor and director of the Center for Remote Sensing at Boston University. In 1967 to 72, he participated in Apollo 11 program at NASA headquarters as a secretary of Lunar Landing Site Selection Committee, and as a chair of astronaut training in visual observations and photography. In 1973 to 82, he established and directed the Center of Earth and Planetary Studies in the National Air and Space Museum of the Smithsonian Institution. At the same time, Professor Farooq served as a science advisor to the late President Anwar Sadat of Egypt. He is a member of the United States National Academy of Engineering, NAE, please join me and give him the big applause, and we listen his message.
I was delighted to receive the invitation from Mr. Salim Al-Malik, the Director General of ICESCO, and to know that Islamic countries now to think so that we can encourage the youth in the Islamic world to catch up with the rest of the world. We see around us all kinds of countries that have done wonders, getting their youth into the space business, because younger people have the ability to do that kind of thing and to want to prove themselves. And if we encourage them and put them on the right path, they can certainly do a magnificent job. So I remember in 1978, I made a proposal for Islamic countries to produce what I call IslamSat, meaning a satellite to benefit all Islamic countries in the equatorial belt or near the equator of the earth, so that we can collect information to help the farmers, to help city planners, to help people that are planning roads, to help people that are looking for additional water, whether it is in the desert or in the mountain regions. So all of these things can be done from space, because space imagery can be utilized in all kinds of applications, including economic progress. And therefore, if we continue to have a group of people to look into what is it that we can do from space to help Islamic countries, to help their economies, to help the youth in Islamic countries develop their ideas and develop their capabilities, we can certainly catch up with the best in the world. No question about it. Our youth are capable of doing it. And then I see that Egypt has done one satellite called EgyptSat. It worked for a year and then stopped and nothing happened. And now Egypt is trying again, or has planned, still now planning to make another satellite. Saudi Arabia started the whole business by sending in more than 10 satellites in Earth orbit, but had very little to do with no help to the Arab world, no help to Islamic countries. Nobody else was involved in it. So it is individual countries doing one little thing here and there is not it. The Islamic countries all together should put their hands together and should put their minds together so that they can help all of the youth in the Islamic world, because we are behind. The Islamic world today is behind the rest of the world. We have to admit that. And to change that, we should put our hands together and put our minds together and do something different. And what is the different today is to go into the higher technology, the space sciences, all kinds of applications, especially because our youth can do all kinds of things and can catch up with the rest of the world. And emphasis on the youth is damned important in my view because of many reasons. I will give you one in a minute. But in looking at the space program worldwide, especially in the United States of America, what was it that made the United States of America a power in the space business? It was really because of the Soviet Union had started, and that was for November 1957, sent a satellite called Sputnik 1 to rotate around the Earth, doing nothing except beep, beep, beep while it's going around the Earth. The president of the United States of America then was Dwight Eisenhower, a military man of World War II. He said, he grouped all his advisors and said, how come the Russians have a satellite in space or in space and we do not have? What's happening to us? Where is our technology? They told him, no, Mr. President, we're all prepared. We have 3 great programs, one in the Navy, one in the Air Force, and one in the Army. All of them are 3 space programs. He looked at them and he said, yeah, that's why the Russians went before we did. Get all of these 3 programs and cut them off completely, all of them, and establish one program out of the military, in the private, in the regular society. And why I say it's not military, so that it will benefit from all the university professors and all the research centers in the country. Within the military, it cannot do it. It has to be outside of the military so it can benefit from the ideas and the researchers in universities and research centers. And that's how NASA made it. Then they started figuring out what is it to do with NASA. They selected the proper manager for NASA. And the first manager of NASA is the man that I think is the best manager I've ever met anywhere, from any country or any organization. This man spent only like one day in his office reading his reports and signing his letters. But the rest of the time, he spent it in the NASA centers everywhere. And he didn't go to look at anybody, no, he just collected or grouped together the supervisors. Every group, the heads of departments, supervisors. And he sat down with them. And he said, the way I see it is that if we can get each and every one that's working for you, if let's say that you have 6 people or six department heads or 20 department heads, if you can get each and every one of them to do more what they are capable of doing, then we'll make it. But if each and every one working for NASA can do only what they think they are capable of doing, we'll never make it, and the Soviets will always be ahead of us. So your job, Mr. Department head or supervisor, is only this. You have to support each and everyone working for you to do better than he or she thinks they are capable of, better than what they think they are capable of. Only then we will make it to the moon. So this was a fabulous manager. Thirdly, it was the dependence on youth. During the Apollo 11 mission, myself and a few of the astronauts were wondering about the incredible youth of the people that ran the mission, and we went through the corridors asking, how old are you, how old are you, how old are you, and so on, and counting the number and the date, the number, and the date, the age. And we calculated all of that, and it turned out that the average youth of the people running the Apollo 11 mission at the time was 26 years old, because the youth are energetic, they want to prove themselves, they just came out of college, and all of the good information, the scientific information is still in their mind, they want to prove themselves, and they want to